The new now is here. You need an out-of-the-box user-friendly platform that will help you transition smoothly to the new normal. You need VSmart School. VSmart School is a one-stop teaching and learning online platform perfect for hybrid learning. This two-in-one system caters to your distance learning and classroom management needs. VSmart School supports self-paced, teacher-paced, asynchronous and synchronous formal education online. In VSmart School, students will attend daily online classes and access Vival's DepEd-aligned digital curriculum from preschool to senior high school. Need content for college? We have them too. With the guidance of parents and teachers, students will follow DepEd's recommended day-to-day lesson calendar for an entire school year. Teachers using VSmart School can also create lessons, schedule classes, and monitor their students' progress. Most importantly, teachers can also live stream or securely conduct online classes through the platform's webinar feature. Looking for a perfect classroom management partner? VSmart School has got you covered as it boasts of an out-of-the-box learning management platform. It provides a library of gamified and interactive materials, a lesson plan repository mapped to the curriculum, assessment tools, and ebooks that feature augmented reality technology. This LMS component of VSmart School is integrated with a learning record system. This means that through the system, teachers and students can track their teaching and learning journey. Not just that, teachers can also monitor students' grades through an electronic grading sheet called Gradebook. And if you need to deploy tests online, you can do so with Test Guru, where you can enjoy thousands of free test questions ready for deployment through the Vival Test Bank. See? All your distance learning needs are here in VSmart School. Packed with curriculum-aligned content, learners' progress reporting, and ebooks that are AR ready, VSmart School goes beyond the traditional classroom experience. The good news is, you can also enjoy the VSmart School experience without the internet connection through its mobile app. Downloadable from Google Play Store and Apple App Store. So what are you waiting for? Start your virtual classroom with VSmart School.
Good afternoon, Kaviba, and welcome to our GEC webinar series. For today's discussion, our topic would be on setting the bars high, learners as builders of the future. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAsOnePH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal. And now, to proceed with our session, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker. Our resource speaker is a faculty and a research coordinator of San Felipe Neri Catholic School, Araling Panlipunan Department. He is also teaching in the senior high school department on the same institution. A product of State University, he finished his bachelor in secondary education, major in social studies, cum laude, at the Rizal Technological University. He completed his academic preparations for the Master of Arts in Education, major in social sciences at the National Teachers College, and a master's degree on educational supervision and administration at Dr. Carlos S. Lanting College. At present, he is completing his postgraduate diploma for social sciences and counseling under ARLT Foundation as program scholar at The Hague, Netherlands. Just recently, he finished his leadership training and obtained certification for Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt. The highlight of his professional background, aside from teaching, focuses on academic research. He is the research coordinator of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Manila Educational System Cluster 3 Schools. He is also an accomplished author and a research trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker for this afternoon, Professor Zaren Aletagadi.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Kia, for that introduction. So, good afternoon, listeners, to my students who are listening right now, to the faculty of San Felipe Neri Catholic School, Jaime Cardinal Sin Learning Center, and Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic School, to our beloved school principal, Dr. Davalos. Thank you for supporting me on this endeavor. Also, thank you, Vibal, for bringing me here third time. Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta at sa pagtitiwala. So for this afternoon, what I will be discussing is all about uh, the the topic that is assigned to me is how can we set the bars high for our learners if we will be looking at these learners as the builders of our present future. So this topic will be talking about skills, competencies, standards. Okay, this will be talking about those things and how can we help our learners to be with the current standards of the world, considering that we are facing a very difficult problem right now, the pandemic of 2020. How can we still be providing the best learning for our students? So let's start. So the first question that I would like to raise is this. Kia, okay na yung screen ko? Hindi ko pala natanong. Kia, okay na po yung screen? Nakashare naman?
Okay naman po, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the question is, Quo Vadis, saan tayo patungo? Where are we going? So this is a very enduring question that elicits not a response for place, not a response for place, but technically a response for a destination in which we are bringing our students towards that destination prepared by them because of their efforts, because of their efforts, their diligence in completing the task of the level they are assigned with. The question is, where are our students going after graduating in the senior high school level? Quo vadis, which means saan ka patungo? Saan patungo ang mga estudyante natin pagkatapos ng senior high school level? So, the first destination that we have in our mind is that they will be going in the college level. Probably they will be going to work and they will not do the college level, or they will not enter in the college level or in the tertiary level. Or some college students, uh, both they study and they work. But when reality speaks, okay, when reality speaks, there are some who will stop and will not work and will not go to college. This reality being placed in front of us is indeed a challenge, is indeed a challenge. And what will happen to this present future if by chance hindi natin na-prepare ang ating mga estudyante para rito. So these will be the enduring question that we will be tackling until we finish this webinar. So, on a survey conducted by Education PH and Canon last 2018, when they surveyed 627 randomly selected senior high school students, the results revealed that 95% out of the 627 randomly selected senior high school students will plan to pursue their college career. Okay? So 95%, they are very positive that they will go to college. Yan. Yan ang kanilang perception, yan ang kanilang pananaw sa buhay. That after finishing the senior high school years, I will go to college. Now, 61% of the 627 is somewhat seeing finances will be their biggest challenge. And when we're talking about reality, these finances, yung kakayahan nating pampinansyal, ay isa sa mga concern natin. Okay? Hindi lang naman ng mga college students, kundi kahit yung mga professional. How can you balance your finances to meet the demands in front of you, given to you by this challenging world? So 61% sees finances will be their biggest challenge. Now, going to the statistics once again, only 2.5% will work or create a business. The senior high school level is very, very fruitful on the sense that it is preparing somehow our students to the world of work because of the subjects or the courses offered in it. Later we will try to get inside of it. And 2.7% are still undecided. So this is the result of the survey conducted by educacion.ph. Now, should we be concerned about this? Kailangan ba nating maging concerned para rito? The answer is yes. Lahat tayo ay apektado sa resulta nito. Bakit? Kung babalikan natin ang resulta, 95% ang nais magpunta sa kolehiyo. Pero sa 95% na to, meron tayong kinakabaka na 61% who on those people who will be proceeding to college might experience or might stop because they are seeing finances as the biggest challenge. So, if they stop going to college, what will happen next? Probably they will stop. They will really stop. Di sila magtatrabaho, di sila mag-aaral. Or they will create business. Now, what are other results presented to us by statistics that has relevance or that has relevance on these senior high school graduates? Did you know last 2017 Life revealed that only 23% from the surveyed 1,000 participants finished college? Okay? So, 23% lamang dun sa sinurvey na 1,000. Okay? 1,000 from those 1,000 participants, only 23% was able to finish college. At sa 1,000 na ito, ilan ito? This is 230. Only 230 will be able to finish college. Now, last 2018, PSA reported 9% of the estimated 39.2 million Filipinos aged 6 to 24. This is what we call the education years from elementary to college are out of school youth. Okay? That is a report from our statistics agency. Now, last 2019, our participation rate in higher education, yung mga nagpupunta sa college, yung mga nag-enroll sa college, only 33 out of 100. Remember, this is the pre-COVID days. Ito yung mga panahon na wala pang pandemya. Paano pa ngayon na ngayon ay merong pandemic tayong kinaharap? So later, we will be also discussing the current learning styles that will be faced, okay, na maaring harapin, na maaring yakapin ng ating mga estudyante sa pandemic time na ito. Now, remember, before college education, we prepare our students to acquire, to make meaning, and to transfer. We know very well that these three are the stages that is happening in a learning situation. We acquire what? We acquire knowledge and skills in a form of competencies, in the form of skills. We make meaning on, or say for example, I can identify the different continents around the world as an acquired competency. Now, we make meaning on principles, on big ideas and concepts. Say, for example, I can relate the influence of geography to our daily lives. And for transfer, it is from textbook to a real life context application of the principles, of the theories, of the big concepts, of the knowledge and the skills that our students have acquired during our learning discussion. An example of it is I can create a persuasive media on the influence of geography to our local community. Now, in the basic education department, we prepare our students cognitively and at the same time effectively by presenting them these kind of competencies which we can classify as acquire, make meaning, or transfer. In the senior high school department, we relate these acquire, make meaning, and transfer on subjects that we called core subject, applied subjects, and specializations. And these three subjects makes our senior high school level unique. Now, when we set the bars high, we need to look back on previous researches. Number one, did you know that James Wallace in 1995 provided the common learning styles of the Filipinos? I can still remember 1995 kinder ako niyan. Okay? So, ano ba ang paano ba matuto ang mga Pilipino noong 1995? So the first thing when we want to set the bars high, the first thing we need to do is to recognize the obvious and the silent characteristics of our learners. Now, on that research study, he said that Filipinos prefer quiet rather than music or other sound when studying. So they opt to be in a quiet place, in an isolation, and they try to review on their own. Second, Filipino students prefers the morning session as the best schedule for learning. So they try to study in the morning, kaya nga siguro meron tayo morning session, morning shift, and when it's morning, ang lagi nating nasa unahang subject ay yung mga mahihirap, di ba? Kasi with the belief na mas fresh ang utak natin sa umagang-umagang ito. I can still remember when I was in college, I'm always doing my review for examination kapag umaga on a belief na ready na ang utak natin kapag umaga na mag-absorb ng mga bagong kaalaman. Are you doing that also? Ginawa mo rin ba iyon? Next, Filipinos are visual and kinesthetic learners. So on that 1995 thing, maybe that's the reason why we have charts, lahat ng uri ng charts, packet charts nandun sa classroom namin nung ako'y elementary. At meron pang mga flashcards na tinatawag yung sa addition and the like, visual and kinesthetic. And when we say kinesthetic, these learners would like to manipulate things, would like to control things, okay? Would like to create things. And Filipinos learn by taking one big chunk, sabi niya. Hindi siya natututo ng sabay-sabay. Isang malaking task and then they will concentrate on it until they are done. So ganun daw ang mga Filipino noong 1995. Our students today, probably during the pre-pandemic days, we need to make that music louder. Yeah, I can still work and study. I can be more focused kapag may naririnig akong music. Lalo't lalo na kung yung music na yan ay favorite ko. So, The louder the music, the more I can feel that I am learning. Another one is I can learn things in my own pace. I got my style. So kung dati sinasabi nila na umaga ka mag-aral, ngayon meron tayong tinatawag na coffee table learning. 'Di ba? Ano yung mga nasa coffee shop? Ayan, coffee shop, ginagawang library ang coffee shop and the like. I can learn things in my own pace. I got my style. Okay? Next, I am master of different learning styles. Ang mga estudyante natin, alam naman natin sa lahat, they can easily have their own way of acquiring new things. They can learn faster than us. Okay? And then lastly, don't worry, I can multitask. Di ba? Minsan nga, pag ikaw ay nasa bahay, tatanungin ka ng magulang mo, ano ka ba, nanonood ka ba ng TV o nagre-review o nakikinig ng music? And then sasabihin ng bata ay, nagre-review po ako. With that TV in front of him or her playing, with that music beside him or her playing, still he, okay? He can work. He can study. So, how can we set the bar high in this kind of learners that we are facing? Now, in this pandemic stage, we may experience learners who are, number one, distracted but want to stay focused. Distracted sila. Even as teachers, we can be very distracted. Okay? Na lalo't-lalo na kung hindi tayo confident, okay, hindi tayo confident dito sa technology na kaharap natin. Lalo't-lalo na kung minsan kinakabahan tayo, maganda ang ating topic, alam nating mahirap siyang i-digest ng isang upuan, tapos kinakabahan tayo na baka yung internet magloko, na tayo'y nagsasalita pero naghang na pala tayo sa harap ng monitor ng mga estudyante natin. Even as teachers, we are also distracted, but we want to focus. Also our learners, we are distracted. Our learners are distracted, but it doesn't mean that they don't want to focus. It's just they are still adjusting in this kind of learning setup. Another one, they are still coping on the current mode of learning. Biruin mo, for how many years na natin ginagawa na tayo nagtuturo sa loob ng classroom, and all of a sudden, hindi natin alam na itong 2020, ang ating classroom ay ang ating mga tahanan. Coping on the current mode of learning. What is stressful in this work from home and learn from home thing is that we are playing multiple roles in this situation. Teacher, ikaw din ay nanay o tatay, ikaw din ay maaring tito o tita sa mga tao dyan sa bahay mo. At kung sakaling may mangyaring emergency, at ikaw ay nagkaklase, you are torn between two clashing stones. Okay, you're in between two clashing stones. Should I continue with what I'm doing, or should I ask my students to go to a synchronous stage? On part of the students, most importantly, those students na masasabi nating very, very less ang kanilang access sa internet. Hindi naman pwede na sila lagi ay naka-asynchronous stage o hindi sila maka-attend dito sa mga live lectures ng ating mga teacher. Our learners are still coping on the current mode of learning. So, it will take time. Hindi lang mga estudyante, kundi pati ang mga teacher natin. Our students, our learners who are hopeful, okay? Hopeful but can also be less motivated. Okay? Sila ay nandun yung nag-uumapaw nilang pag-asa na malalagpasan nila ito, na malalagpasan natin ito, na may matututunan ako, pero nandun pa rin yung impact ng motivation. If you can still remember Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of motivation, that there are some stages, okay, on that hierarchy that we need to satisfy. And satisfying those hierarchy is equivalent to the motivation that we are experiencing or the motivation that we will be embracing. If before our students can say, I can multitask, they are now replaced by students who can be risk averse. O yung mga estudyante nating takot mag-take ng risk. So according to facts, in 2020, this pandemic is a generation-defining moment for our Generation Z learners. This is a generation-defining moment in which this will test whether the characteristics that we have created that will define their generation is really correct. This is a generation-defining moment. And remember, well, if ever we survive this pandemic years after years after years, this will be a where were you learning moment. Nasaan ka noong mga panahong ito? Ano ang mga ginagawa mo noong panahong ito? Halimbawa, ikukwento mo ito sa mga susunod na henerasyon. Anong ginawa mo para ka makasurvive? Anong ginawa mo nung ikaw ay abala sa e-learning na tinatawag? This is a where were you learning moment. So, in this pandemic, expect that those students who will be facing us in front of their monitors, in front of their cell phones, may experience these characteristics which I lay down to you. And remember the advice of facts that this new normal in education is indeed a generation defining moment. This pandemic have tested not only the Generation Z students, but also the generations before them. Say for example, yung mga hindi naman sanay sa technology, even I are still need to learn. Mayroon pa akong gustong matutunan sa mga technology na ito na ino-offer para maging maganda ang klase ko. Maraming tao ang nag-a-adjust at marami ring tao ang tunay na nahihirapan. At dun sa mga paghihirap na iyon, it tests their generation. So, again, we will go back to the description that this is a where were you learning moment. Now, how can we set the bars high? The challenge is not to give the skills. Huwag mong ibigay kasi hindi ito katulad na ikaw ay nasa classroom when you write the objective of the day. Okay? And will be our learning for the day. This will be our discussion for the day. Hindi na ito tulad nung dati that you will just give the skill, that you will just give the objectives. But today, we will be building the skills. We will be building the skills as educators. Now, the challenge is in front of us. How can we build learners using asynchronous and synchronous stage? And I know very well you have heard these words before. How many times? Narinig nyo na ito ng maraming beses. But I just want to clarify things paano natin ma-improve ang mga ito. Number one, in the asynchronous stage, pre-assess on this phase. Give pre-assessment activities in which your learners could learn this on their own phase. Make sure that in the asynchronous stage, we measure prerequisite skills. Conduct a self-paced assessment which may welcome the learner in evaluating his or her learned competence about a specific topic. Ang maganda sa part na to dapat, yung madali siyang i-check. Yung objective siya, probably true or false, probably multiple choice, ayan, so that the learner will be having an idea na parang nabasa ko na to dati nung ako'y grade 5, nung ako'y grade 6. That's the purpose bakit ka mag-asynchronous. Pero kung ikaw ay nagbigay ng asynchronous activity na bago sa bata, ay good luck. Okay? You can have your recorded video lectures, podcasts, reflection writings, and short objective assessments in the synchronous phase. Why? Because during the synchronous stage, you need to conduct your follow-up sessions in this phase. You need to conduct follow-up sessions. Kaya nga, katulad ginagawa natin dito, after learning everything from the past Viva lectures, we are making a follow-up once again, and how can we use this to level up our learners? You can create ongoing sessions, virtual coaching, and live lectures to to help strengthen the weak competencies manifested by the students. Nasaan yung mga weak competencies na ito? Probably, these weak competencies ay nasaan? Maaring nakita mo ito during the asynchronous records or asynchronous phase after checking their early assessments. And now, remember, when you conduct your synchronous activities, make your expectations clear. So since we're having a synchronous activity right now, I want to clarify something about the objectives of this talk. At the beginning of my talk, I will be discussing about the senior high school, their readiness and their preparedness. Pagdating natin sa dulo ng aking talk, I will be discussing the competencies, the skills that we need to strengthen so that they will be work ready or college ready. So you need to clarify those things. Why? Because you have only limited time to conduct your synchronous activities. Remember, in metacognition, when the mind works, our attention is most of the time described as your chronological age minus 1. So ibig sabihin, kung ako'y 30 years old, minus 1, the average of my attention span is only 29 minutes. So, how about your students? How about your students? Kahit alisin mo na yung minus 1, sila ay nasa 10 years old, 11 years old. Kung ikaw ay senior high school, 17, 18, 19, or 20 years old. So, nandun sa span na yon ang kanilang attention span. And how can you level up their learning on that 20 minutes attention span na kailangan mong i-catch ang kanilang attention, na kailangan mong i-sustain nang wala ka physically sa harap nila. Pero ikaw ay nasa harap nila virtually. That is a challenge. Now, when our learners graduated in the senior high school department, they experience pressure brought by, para ito sa mga estudyante. Kung may mga estudyante mang nakikinig sa atin ngayon, so I don't know if you experience this, but you can comment on the on the reaction section or the comment section whether you experience this. When our learners graduated in the senior high school department, they experienced pressure brought by, number 1, the belief that I can work now. I have my skills. Yan. Ito yung, halimbawa, nakagraduate ka na ng senior high school, dahil nga ni-ready ka ng teacher mo from the world of work, meron kang paniniwala sa sarili mo na pwede na ako magtrabaho, hindi mo na ako magka-college. Another one, I will go now to the university and become then professional that I dream of. So, yan. Yan yung dalawang idea na humahati sa pananaw ng ating mga senior high school student pagkatapos nilang graduate. And most of the time, this leads to what we call frustration. Why? What is the question at the back of their mind, at the back of their mind when they are in front of this option? The first question is, saan ko naman gagamitin itong mga ginagawa ko ngayon kapag nagtatrabaho na ako? These are questions na minsan na rin or madalas na tinatanong ng mga estudyante habang ginagawa nila ang mga activity natin sa loob ng classroom nung sila ay junior high school pa lang o senior high school or elementary. Saan ko naman gagamitin itong ginagawa ko ngayon kapag nagtrabaho na ako? This is a vacuum, a very big space that we need to fill in, to clarify with that these activities of yours has something to do with your skill, and we will name that skill. Ito mga ginagawa ninyo ay may kinalaman sa ganitong aspeto ng track na kinuha ninyo. So, this is a question that we need to answer and that they continuously asking themselves. Halimbawa, ganitong program ang kukunin ko sa college. Halimbawa, accountancy ang kukunin ko sa college. Kasama ba talaga ito? Yan. May mga tanong na ganyan ang ating mga estudyante na siguro minsan ay nahihiya. Okay? Nahihiya silang itanong sa atin kapag tayo nagbibigay ng mga tasks or activities, pero nagsusurface yan sa utak nila. O kung sila man ay magkakasama sa kanilang mga group discussion. So, and Lastly, hala, paano nangyari yun? Ipapasa agad. Hindi nga naipaliwanag yung dating ipinasa namin. So these are the questions that our learners, okay, dala-dala nila iyan hanggang graduate. At hanggang pagtungo nila sa kolehiyo, hindi nila alam na yung ginawa pala nilang iyon ay kaugnay sa ginagawa nila ngayon sa kolehiyo. So may vacuum, may space. Okay? And this leads to what we call frustration. Ngayon, why are they thinking like this? Because technically, those students who were born 1995 to 1996 to present, they are Generation Z learners. First, they believe schools are responsible for making them future ready. 36% of the surveyed by World Economic Forum believed like this. Ganyan ang kanilang paniniwala. They believe schools are responsible for making them future ready. And we are facing this kind of students right now. Second, they take pride as the most learned generation. They take pride as the most learned generation because most of the resources in learning was made available on their generation. At the tip of their finger rests multitude of resources online. So they take pride on it. We have free courses online in which our students can take it before our subjects. Technically, maaring mas marami silang alam sa subject natin. Yun nga lang, because the way we provide the courses probably not interesting on a manner to them. So this second statement that describes Generation Z learners, ito pa rin ang dala-dala nila hanggang ngayon. That's why, kung maaalala niyo yung mga question na pinakita ko sa inyo on the previous slide, ganun sila mag-isip. Now, how can we raise the bar for them? So that when we raise the bar, kasama sila. Hindi lang tayo mga teacher ang umaangat. Make them included. This is according to Fun Man Fong in 2020, How to Create Engaging Online Learning Amid COVID-19 Pandemic. Lessons from the Singaporean Education. So, paano ang ginawa nila? The first one is to strengthen. Strengthen the lesson. Before the lesson, waiting time is very essential. Okay? The before lesson waiting time is very essential in forming the students holistically. Ano itong mga before lesson waiting time? So halimbawa, ikaw ay magkaklase ng halimbawa 2 o'clock. So before 2 o'clock, may 10 minutes kayong pagitan para pumasok yung mga bata sa virtual classroom. So yung mga naunang bata doon, on the practice of Singapore, the first way of strengthening lesson grasp is to strengthen student-teacher interaction, the before learning convos ang tinatawag nila, o yung before class chats. So, chats and professional conversations that discuss the condition of your students during the pandemic period helps a lot in maintaining rapport. So there is a basis. Bakit kailangan natin ng tinatawag nating student-teacher conversation before the lesson? It makes everyone go back to the old normal that we used to have. So if we are in a new normal situation and our students are not yet used to it, we can provide some shades na kung saan mararamdaman nila na parang kausap niya pa rin ang teacher. That's the first rule. The second is plan. Expose them to real-life issues and as much as possible, allow them to think while providing feedback immediately. That is the reason bakit meron tayong mga application sa internet or sa cellphone na pwedeng makakuha agad ng mga feedback. There is always a feedback for everything. In real life, many elements can provide feedback. So if we are in a new normal and our students is not used to this, so feedback is still very important. So ano yung feedback na sinasabi natin dito? Yung malaman niya na ang ginagawa niya ay tama at yung malaman niya ay ginagawa ay mali. Why? Because in reality, feedback is very quick. Most of these feedbacks are immediate. When there is feedback, there is a sense of valuing. It will be only completed. The sense of being valued will only be completed not only in academic matters but also in personal matters if you are constantly receiving feedback about your work. Hindi mo masasabing magaling ka. Okay, tatandaan natin to. Hindi nating masasabing magaling ka kung ang lagi lang nagsasabi sa'yo magaling ka ay yung sarili mo o yung mga kaibigan mo. Hindi mo rin makikita na mali ka kung lagi ang nagsasabi sa iyo ay tama, magaling, at laging praise ang nakukuha mo. Feedback is not always very good. Feedback also contains a space for improvement when someone told you directly, hey, that is wrong. And when someone critic you like that, for you to be able to realize that you are being valued, you need to accept that. Okay? So we think that a simple nod, okay, does not work for grown-ups. Hey, they need it more. Yung simpleng pagtango, yung simpleng pagsabi ng yes, yung pagsabi ng correct, that really matters, most importantly, for Generation Z students. Now, the last one is to utilize. We need to utilize and to process every responsibilities that your subject exposed to your student. This is the time when students has this unlimited access to their phone and their mind is so full with animated objects, graphics, and design. When they don't see the purpose and the role on what they are doing, they tend to be frustrated and disengaged. Remember that these students that we have in front of us are digitally native. Nabuhay sila sa mundo na ang mga computer, ang mga tablets, ang mga cellphone ay naging kapatid nila. And they know many things about these gadgets. They know many things than us teachers, and sometimes we learn things from them. So because of this fast changing world and the blessings of technology being given to us, the expectation of these students also change. Tumataas din ang expectation ng mga bata sa atin, lalo na, okay, lalo na teritoryo nila itong virtual world. We are facing students who can be online for a matter of 3 to 6 hours a day. Okay? So we need to utilize, we need to process these things. Remember, SPU, strengthen, what will be, anong strengthen natin? Student-teacher interaction. Plan, anong ipaplan natin? Checkpoints for live responses. Yung mga Mentimeter, quizzes, kahoots, if you're familiar with that, nagbibigay siya ng immediate feedback sa ating mga estudyante. And utilize. Babalik ka ulit sa student to student interaction. So, that's the reason bakit tayo merong mga breakthrough sessions o yung mga small group sessions na tinatawag. So, SPU, strengthen, plan, utilize. And what is the product of doing this SPU framework? We make our students engage. We make them included in the learning process despite the boundaries set by this pandemic. Engage them. There should be a balance between group work and individual work. Ayan. So hindi ibig sabihin na tayo ay nasa online classroom, tatambakan natin ang mga bata ng group work. Tatambakan natin ang mga bata ng individual work. There must be a balance between group work and individual work. So anong gagawin natin? Remember this and do not forget. One of the greatest teacher is life itself. Mismong buhay ang isa sa mga pinakamagagaling na teacher natin. Also nga pala, before I forgot, I want to be more practical on this lecture rather than theoretical. Okay? One of the greatest teacher is life itself. Actually, we really don't do things with others. We really don't do things with others. It starts with when we move our hands and our feet towards our destination. So that is how, okay? So that is how we build, okay? That is how we build competencies and skills to our students. If the road is smooth and welcoming, you will encounter people. But most of the time, you will do it alone. So sa mga estudyanteng nakikinig sa akin ngayon, remember this and do not forget. Life is always testing us whether we can do it in a group or we can do it alone. But remember, the road of students and teachers, we are walking on that same road. And if that road is welcoming, you will encounter people. Students, your teachers. Teachers, your students. But most of the time, you will do it alone. And only by doing it alone, you will realize, yes, I am progressing. So there should be a balance between group work and individual work. According to Rothman in 2018, Generation Z students prefers to work in small groups. Yan. Kaya minsan ako as a research teacher, ayoko ng 6 members in a group sa research. Kasi usually ang nangyayari, isa sa ang mangyayari niyan, yung isa sa defense, magsasalita, yung isa taga-type, yung isa taga-print, yung isa taga-dasal, siguro yung isa na pag ikaw maswerte na mamiyembro, siguro yung isa taga-handa ng pagkain or during your meeting. So, Generation Z prefers to work in small groups. They value small groups. Kaya nga if you want to increase group participation in your class, make it small. Okay? Meron namang mga application na ngayon na you can convene in a virtual world and then divide it in a virtual classroom. They value roles which are functional and responsive in a small group rather than a dull big group. Okay? Kaya nga minsan, di ba, nauso yung term na, ewan ko if students will agree with me, mayroon tayong term na nauso, pabuhat. Yan. Di ba? They value roles which are functional and responsive in a small group. Di ba rin na maliit sila, pero lahat sila tulong-tulong. Rather than a dull big group. They would like to see themselves growing. Paano mo makikita ang sarili mo? Paano mo makikita yung progress mo kasama yung iba kung ang lagi mo lang nakikita ay yung sarili mong kumikilos? Siyempre makikita mo lang, you're progressing. Pero gusto mo, nakikita mo yung sarili mo, nakikita mo yung uniqueness mo, habang nakikita mo rin na nagpo-progress yung iba. So, they want to value group accomplishment in a more profound manner. Hindi yung sinabihan sila very good in a classroom presentation kasi alam nila yung isa o dalawa lang ang bumuhat and the rest naging tagahawak na lang ng Manila paper. So as teachers in this virtual classroom, in this 21st century learning that we have, if we want to raise the bar, the standards, then we need to consider a balance between group work and individual work. Marami magsasabi na mas gusto nila ang individual work kasi sa huli sila rin naman ang gumagawa. Marami mga estudyante ang gugustuhin ng group work kasi napagtatakpan sila. Pero dapat everyone has a chance to shine. Everyone has a chance to work for his or her own. So there should be a balance. They challenge even themselves when they see their role is important and their efforts are being valued. So remember that. Rothman in 2018 defines that Generation Z, okay, that this generation of learners that we have will always work positively in a small group. Learn to learn every day. Learn to learn every day. The world is your classroom. Learnability is the path to career security. Our Generation Z learners are exposed to new innovations and new ideas. They desire to learn new things is infinite. They will always find ways to learn new things and invent from their own known skills. Siguro dito papasok yung pagiging creative ng teacher sa paggawa ng mga classroom activities. Dito papasok yung pagbibigay ng teacher ng motivation sa kanya mga estudyante. Because for us to recognize the uniqueness of a certain person, there must be a situation wherein he will exhibit his or her own uniqueness. Now, they will always find ways to learn new things and invent from their own known skills. What worries our learners, the Generation Z? According to Delgado in 2020, there are three issues that worries our learners. First is the issue on climate change. Oh, akala ninyo ang mga kabataan natin ngayon ay walang pakialam. The youth today, okay, are more socially aware than during compared to the generations that is older than them. Their access to internet, their access to unlimited sources makes them aware. Okay? Kaya kailangan pumasok pa rin si teacher. Why? Because kailangan niyang i-process ang mga ito. The value of processing in learning is still very important. Remember, your learners are I-generation learners. They are learners who are considered native of the digital world. They do not just crave for technology, but they live with technology. And one thing that we must remember, your learners comes with the me generation. They are the selfie generation. They focus more on themselves. They value themselves so much. And this me generation is always looking for a model, okay? For a model that they will try to imitate, or a model that will try to be more skillful than. Isang model na hinahanap nila na gusto nila maging o gusto nilang mahigitan. That is the reason why they are called as the me generation. Their ideas will always matter. Millennials are interacting all day but almost entirely through a screen. This is referring to us. But this Generation Z, they are more than this me generation. They're doing a behavior to reduce this anxiety. Okay? Now, Generation Z are masters of soft skills and developer of hardcore skills. Tatanungin mo ngayon, ano ba yung mga soft skill na yan? May soft skill na, may hard skill pa. Ano yung mga soft skill? Soft skills represents you. Ikaw, teacher na nakikinig sa akin, meron kang soft skill. Ikaw, estudyante na nakikinig sa akin, meron ka ring soft skill. And this soft skill represents you, rather your what. Okay? It represents who you are. Okay? These are your skills that represent your communication, the way you collaborate, and the way you approach life. Unfortunately, ito yung isa sa mga malungkot na idea about soft skill. We try to look at this as inferior. Okay? With an attitude that says, lahat naman kaya matutunan yan. Lahat naman marunong mag-type sa computer. Lahat naman marunong magsalita sa harap ng tao. Bakit kailangan mo pang pag-aralan? Lahat naman. I think our students, narinig nyo na yan, yung statement na yan. Nako, dali-dali lang naman yan. Yan. Sometimes, our non-recognition of soft skills is the one that demotivates our students. This is according to 2019 Global Talent Trends. And do you know, our long belief is sometimes disheartening and most of the time a killer of someone's motivation. I will repeat, our long belief, okay, is sometimes disheartening. Okay? This is a very disheartening attitude. And most of the time, a killer of someone's motivation. Madalas ko itong naririnig or nakikita sa mga Facebook posts. I try to grab it. But all of their but this is not my property. So I need to mention them. The pictures that I'm sharing to you right now came from Facebook. Yung attitude na yums ka lang, ang sakit nun. Why? Because we believe na ang puhunan lang ng yums ay pagsasalita. Yung salita na TBL lang. No, TBL kami. Why? Because these TBL people, they are preparing our society to a more advanced world. Their skills in innovation, their skills in creating new things from what they learned in programming. Itong mga yums na ito, hindi lang sila lang. Okay? They are YUM students. And remember, social sciences, this is the soul of our society. For you to be able to understand the society, you need to embrace social sciences, humanities. Okay? What defines us being a Filipino? Crops, okay, is being crafted, cemented by social sciences. So, sometimes our lang attitude kills the motivation of these students. And sometimes our disbelief on their skill, okay, our disbelief on their skill, technically skilling them. So, paano natin iaangat ang quality ng learners natin kung sa soft skill pa lang, dehado na tayo? Kasi ang paniniwala natin, madali lang naman yan. Now, every track or strand is a representation of the uniqueness of human's talent and craftsmanship. Yan ang tatandaan natin. Every track, every strand, academic ka man, tech voc ka man, arts and design ka man, sports ka man, yan, is a representation of the uniqueness of human talent. Remember, 90% of what we love to do came from our soft skill. Siguro naman hindi lang ang pang-aasar ang kayang gawin natin. Okay? O kaya ang panglalait sa kapwa o yung pangmamaliit sa kapwa. 90% of what we love to do came from our soft skills. 91% of the employers agree that soft skills development is very important to the future of recruiting and human resources. So, mamaya iisa-isahin natin itong mga soft skills na ito. 80% of the employers agree that soft skills are relevant to company success and individual progress. So hindi siya how will you say this in Tagalog? Hindi siya hindi relevant. Okay? Relevant siya. Okay? 92% of the employers agree that soft skills are far more important than these hard skills. So what are these soft skills that we need to understand? According to LinkedIn Skills Report of 2019, can we learn soft skills in our daily subjects? Let us enumerate the most important soft skills. The first difficult soft skill to develop. Any guess? What is this first difficult soft skill to develop? Can you guess in our chat box? The first soft skill that is very difficult to develop is creativity. Creativity is very, very difficult to develop because many said that creativity is together born with the child or together developed with the child. When we say creativity, this is Bloom's highest cognitive hierarchy. Sa mga teachers natin, alam natin yan. What is Bloom's highest cognitive hierarchy? This is creation or synthesis. Now, when we say creativity as a soft skill, hindi lang iyan yung pag-drawing. Pero isa yon, design sense ang tawag doon. Do you know that in problem solving, you can also exhibit creativity? Do you know that in innovation, a huge amount of creativity is needed? And when you try to troubleshoot, when you try to craft strategies, then there is creativity. Remember, creativity is not only when you paint. Creativity also requires what we call creative thinking or critical thinking. Now, conviction through the second soft skill that is very hard to find is conviction through words, evident on someone's passion. And we call this as persuasion. Persuasion is the ability to use words, to use action, to use your logical thinking so that you can create the most perfect word. You can create the most perfect concept and you can deliver it. Okay? You can deliver it. When we say persuasion, it is not only thinking about yourself. It is also putting yourself on the shoe of other people who is listening to you at that moment you are speaking, at that moment you are presenting. So, persuasion is another soft skill. Oh, remember your subjects. Ano bang mga subject ang nagturo sa'yo ng persuasion? English, oral communication, Filipino, di ba? Sining ng komunikasyon at pakikipagtalastasan. Tandang-tanda ko yan. Isa yun sa mga subject ko nung college. Yan. Ano pa mga subject sa atin nagturo ng persuasion? Entrepreneurship. Yan. Napakaganda ng subject na yan. Sapagkat ang entrepreneurship ay nagtuturo sa atin na paano maging innovative and at the same time, paano i-share itong innovativeness sa kapwa natin. Emotional appeal. Kaya nga hindi lang yan about thinking. It is also putting yourself on the shoe of other people. The third is collaboration. Collaboration is not only a 21st century skill. Collaboration is also, okay? Collaboration is also a soft skill. Hindi lahat kaya makipag-collaborate. Pero lahat kayang pero natututunan natin lumabas sa ating safe zone at makipag-collaborate. What requires collaboration is communication, trust, and willingness to cooperate. Collaboration is very important because when we in the real world of work, okay, hindi ka magtatrabaho mag-isa. Meron ka madalas kasama sa isang team. At kung ikaw ay loner at ayaw mo makipag-collaborate dun sa mga kapwa mo, paano ka matututo ng bagong bagay, ng bagong concept, ng bagong kaalaman tungkol sa trabaho mo? So collaboration is also an important soft skill. The second one is adaptability. Okay? Adaptability or flexibility is a soft skill. It refers to your ability to embrace changes and manage multiple tasks. Ang ating mga estudyante, they love to multitask. It only exhibits their adaptability to several pressures. But it doesn't mean that we can put more pressure just because they are adapting. Remember, you can only bend as much as you can. Okay? You can only bend as much as you can. So, adaptability is knowing the right time to say, I can, I can't, I will, and I will not. Why? Kasi, hindi lang naman ikaw ang may kaalaman ng lahat ng knowledge sa mundong ito. May mga bagay na hindi mo alam at kailangan mo pa matutunan. At kahit anong pilit mo sabihin mo na kaya ko yan, hindi yan matutumbasan ng mga taong alam na talaga ang isang bagay. So adaptability is learning na makikinig muna ako ngayon, bukas ipapractice ko, the next day ipapractice ko ulit, the next day papakita ko sa kanya kung paano at makikinig ako kung ano ang mali. Adaptability is showing humility as well. So, you can still be relevant by learning new things. Huwag kang matakot na matuto ng bagong bagay o bagong kaalaman. Wala ring nakakahiya kung ikaw ay magtatanong sa mga taong nauna na sa iyo at paano nila ginawa ito. Ang nakakatakot, sumugod ka sa isang laban na hindi mo man lang kinonsider ano nangyari dun sa mga dumaan na dyan. And at the end of your battle, you lost. Natalo ka. Adaptability is knowing the right time, the right timing to say, I can, I can't, I will, and I will not. Last is a skill, a challenge, and a talent. Time management. When you try to put an enormous respect to time and you develop time management, tandaan nyo ito, you also respect others' time. rumerespeto ka rin sa oras ng iba. Now, creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability and flexibility, time management. Ito mga soft skills na ito, naka-embed sa ating mga senior high school subject. Now, saan naman natin dadalhin itong mga soft skill na to pag tayo'y nasa college na? Sa college, wala tayong core subject, applied subject, at specialized subject. Meron tayong tinatawag na general education subject o ito yung tinatawag nating subject na pare-pareho nating tinitake kapag tayo nasa first year. Ano-ano ito mga ito? Alam niyo ba na itong mga general education subject na ito ay may alignment sa mga tinake na natin sa senior high school? Halimbawa, general mathematics. Solve problems involving rational, exponential, and logarithmic function. Pagdating sa kolehiyo, may math pa rin. Ang tawag natin dito ay mathematics in the modern world, wherein those processes, those algorithms that we learned in general mathematics should be now applied in a more functional manner. Say for example, align sa course mo, align sa program na kinuha mo. Yun yung subject na mathematics in the modern world. Ang mga soft skills na na-develop dito, critical thinking, communication, troubleshooting, and strategies. Another one is core subjects. Is personal development. Pagdating sa college, ito naman ay tinatawag natin understanding the self. Okay? This is about the nature of identity, factors and forces that affect the development and maintenance of personal identity. Soft skills, persuasion, communication, and adaptability, and as well as collaboration. For core subjects like understanding society and culture, ito naman ay magre-reflect or mas palalawakin sa contemporary world. While we are trying to learn the society and culture in the Philippines during the grade 12 days, pagdating sa first year college, may subject na the contemporary world, and it focuses on globalization and its impact to individual community. Soft skills, communication, collaboration, adaptability, and creativity. Pagdating naman sa mga applied subject, English for academic and professional purposes, and core subject na reading, writing, and oral communication, ito naman ay magmamanifest sa subject sa college na purposive communication. These general education courses will strengthen your acquired soft skills and your prerequisite knowledge that you have learned in your senior high school days. Also, another one, understanding society and culture, readings in the Philippine history. Pero, yung mga YUM students, meron silang specialized subject na tumatalakay din sa mga disciplines and ideas in the social sciences. So yan yung pagkaka-align nila. Another one is core subject, general education courses, contemporary Philippine arts from the regions, and art appreciation naman pagdating sa kolehiyo. So yan yung mga subject na ma-encounter nyo senior high school pagdating nyo sa college. Ito yung mga subject na general education. Kumbaga, regardless of your program enrolled, ma-encounter nyo sila. Iba pa yan doon sa mga elective ninyo. Core subjects like earth and life science, physical science. Pagdating sa college, meron tayong subject na science and technology and society. Soft skills, critical thinking, adaptability, creativity. For core subjects like philosophy, ito naman ay magpapatuloy sa kolehiyo under the general education course na ethics. So, that's how general education will progress during the college day. So, if we only have 8 subjects for core general education courses, why there are so many core subjects in the senior high school? Because each subject celebrates a distinct uniqueness, made important and relevant to soft skills, interests, and readiness of learners. So katulad na lang sa entrepreneurship, di ba? Yung mga bata na natutong mag-business, yan, na gumawa ng mga business plan, okay? Yan ay matututunan lamang nila kapag halimbawa sila kumuha ng mga business-related courses. Pero dahil sa senior high school, may subject na ino-offer na ganyan, natututunan ng bata ang mga soft skills na related sa entrepreneurship, the same with research. So, remember, creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and flexibility, and time management. We embrace 21st century skills. But many educational experts will tell you we should not only telling this as a 21st century skills. These are needed skills, not only on the 21st century, but as we go on in this life, we will be needing these skills. But according to McClellan in 2018 and on the report of OECD, while we are busy preparing in the 21st century skills here in the Philippines, other countries in the world is now embracing what we call 2030 skills. Meron na agad silang ibang skills na kinaharap at hinahanda nila ang mga estudyante nila dito. Remember that the new normal is not a new term in education because this is the aspiration of the future. This skills 2030 is the aspiration of our future. A society where networks meet less physically but more virtually, and classrooms are considered to be part of a bigger macrocosm or the community itself. In the Philippines, we are now looking in a classroom wherein there is an imperative online education, open textbook system, flipped learning, and at the same time, the intensified use of printed materials. According to Global Business Coalition for Education Scorecard in 2019, the Southeast Asian region, together with the countries in East Asia and the Pacific, the countries in the Pacific Ocean, they are presented with persisting challenges, most importantly, because of technology. The East Asia and the Pacific should also address skill shortage because of the rapid change in technology, making job descriptions for work require a specific high skills qualification. Diyan papasok ang Skills 2030. Kung dati pinag-aaralan, nagtatapos pa lang tayo ng kolehiyo sa mga program na ginusto natin, ngayon, ang mundo ngayon ay nagpe-prepare na for a higher degree of competence. And this requires data analytics, research, data science, programming language, robotics, and the like. Because of these new trends, new trends in the world of work, it is pressuring not only the educational sector, but also our graduates. What will happen years after my graduation? What will happen after this I'm taking college right now, and I'm on my second year of college. What will happen to the world of work when I graduate? Uso pa ba itong programang kinuha ko? Another problem, pressuring, is the mismatch, not a job mismatch, but the mismatch in perception between businesses and graduates. Ang mga businesses, yung light blue. Yung mga graduates, yung dark blue na kulay. Tignan mo, ang mga business owner, they put prime in leadership, 39%. But the graduates, they only look at it at 24% level. Kumbaga, yung priorities, hindi nagmamatch. Hindi nagmamatch. And because of this gap, because of these skills and attributes, nahihirapan ngayon ang mga graduates natin makahanap ng trabaho. So, how can Skills 2030 prepare our learners and teachers? Remember this. Of all the many skills presented by the 21st century skills, di ba ang 21st century skills, yan yung may 4 C's ba yun? Creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and then under that may mga sub-skills pa, di ba? Ngayon, sa Skills 2030, 5 na lang sila at naka-arrange pa hierarchically. Technological skills, social and emotional skills, high cognitive skills, basic cognitive skills, and physical and manual work, in which technological skills is the highest. Remember that the world is turning digital, data, and research-driven. So, technological skills, ito yung mga hinahanap ng mundo ngayon. Ito yung mga skills na pinag-aaralan ng mga future IT specialists, mga data scientists, mga data stewards, mga engineers, mga robotic expert, and scientific expert. These are the people who have successfully applied what they learned technically. An additional 60% working time is expected in 2030. That is why this will really set the tone for skill shift and higher qualification requirements. Another one is social and emotional skills, the reign of soft skills. The world will need human beings who will train another human being for the next generation to come. These include advanced communication and negotiation. Ano to mga social and emotional skills? Ito yung mga skills na meron tayo under humanities and social sciences, under life sciences, and at the same time yung mga businesses. Pero iba ang trend. It is because they will no longer, okay? They will no longer preserve their own business. Hindi yun ang goal. But to train, okay? But to train next human, another human or another expert, another leader born from the experts of these former leaders. Okay? So an additional 26% working time exposure will require additional workforce. But this will also require enormous skill certification, more advanced degrees, and enormous researches, which will require qualified human resources. So, ganyan ba natin hinahanda ang ating mga estudyante? For higher cognitive skills, will our doctorate degree and master's degree allow us to compete by the year 2030? Sabi dyan, while the world is changing because of the fast human development, itong mga alam natin na natutunan natin teacher sa ating graduate school, i-expand pa yan pagdating ng 2030. There should be what we call advanced literacy and writing skills which will require quantitative and statistical skills. O, ngayon pa lang, doon sa mga nag-graduate school, seryosohin na natin ang ating mga statistics subject and research subject. Why? Because technically, as we go on with this year, 2020, for the siguro after 10 years, magbo-boom ang mga skills na nangangailangan nito. What will happen with basic cognitive skills and physical manual skills? Yung mga in-specify ng skills 2030, yung mga skills ng mga nasa cashier and the like, will they be replaced or removed? Ang sagot dyan is no, but they will be affected. Literally affected. Businesses will turn to technology and digitization of processes. Their task can be done by people who exhibited, okay, advanced skills. A change in skills trend is a change in the whole system. How can we prepare ourselves on this change? Love your soft skills. Do not consider it as soft. Turn it to an opportunity. Love what you are doing. If you are getting use of doing an online business, nahahasa ang iyong communication skills sa pakikipag-business on closing deals, love it. Huwag mong ikahiya. Okay? Kung mas sanay ka sa paggawa ng mga data, kahit nahihirapan ka pero iniisa-isa mo siyang aralin, huwag kang mapagod. These are your soft skill. You need to embrace it. Kung ang gusto mo ay magpasaya ng tao, paggawa ng mga vlogs, paggawa ng mga lecture guides sa YouTube, at sinishare mo sa Facebook, love it. Sooner and later, your efforts will be having the reward that it deserves. According to the scoreboard result for Skills 2030, the result is favorable to countries in East Asia and the Pacific. And take note, the Skills 2030 is very favorable to countries specifically like the Philippines, because today our learning rate is 30%. We keep our fingers crossed by 2030, 79% will be the learning rate of these people in relation to the skills of 2030 which I enumerated a while ago. So hindi negative ang dating sa ating mga Pilipino pagdating ng 2030. But these statistics will only change if we continue on degrading soft skills, if we continue on making fun of other soft skills. Now, so what will make our students the builders of our present future? Remember this, students. it will take time to grow a dream and make it reality. Tandaan nyo yan. But time is not an enemy. Time is part of the tedious process. Together with their teachers, our students also face the challenges brought by this fast changing world. But don't lose hope. Your effort will always matter. Your dream is always important. Your love for your dream and your effort to make it real may not be appreciated, but remember, it will always matter. No matter how small steps you're taking right now, hey, progress is progress. Now, teachers, remember, we are the life for every dreams. We are the life for every dreams. While we are toiling to make others better, do not forget yourself. Huwag mong kalimutan din ang sarili mo. You are a hero. You created the world to be possible for every dreams to proliferate para dumami yung mga pangarap na ito ng ating mga estudyante. You are a hero. Despite generation gaps and generation change, teacher, your influence will always matter. Remember, do not forget to celebrate your own uniqueness. Estudyante ka man o teacher na nakikinig sa akin ngayon, our society is a macrocosm of unique individuals blooming at their own pace. Most of them live not only for themselves, but let others grow. You are always a hero. Continue loving, continue living. Life is meant to be lived. And for you, teacher, who is listening to me right now, remember this enduring statement coming from one of the greatest history educators. You are an educator, regardless of what you do, of what your profession is. The word educator comes from the root word dux duce, which means lid, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means the one who does. An educator is one who engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance, and that is according to Jane Elliott. An educator is one who engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance. So can we raise the bar for our students? Can we raise the standard for our students? Can we embrace the challenge of Skills 2030? The answer is yes. The question now is how? Love your soft skills. Be a master of it. Good afternoon, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Zare. So now we will proceed with our question and answer portion po. Our first question po, Sir Zaren, is from Miss Zizel Don Abesha. How can you
Okay.
bridge the gap with supposedly synchronous activities if students do not have reliable internet connection all the time?
That is always a question when we discuss. Okay, that is always a question when we discuss the some online learning education. How can we bridge synchronous and asynchronous? First is give them an easy to check assessment where assessment can be checked. Okay, when assessment can be evaluated objectively. Okay, why? Because that is the only way. Now, kung walang stable internet connection si estudyante sa bahay, therefore, you need to provide them modules, and on that module, nasa dulong part maaari yung sagot para ma-evaluate ng bata ang sarili niya. In these pressuring times, hindi na natin pwedeng sisihin pa ang internet connection. But as teachers, we need to create an action para ma-address ito. Let me give you a technique. Halimbawa, synchronous activity kayo ngayon ng estudyante mo. Malakas ang internet, lahat online. Ipa-install mo sa kanila yung application, ang pangalan ay Single File. Single File is a Google Chrome extension application which download a web page so that the students can open it kahit wala siyang internet. Yun. Pwede mong gamitin yon. Will it bridge the gap? Yes. Bakit? Kung problema lang naman ng internet, there are some applications that you can download. Number one of the best, I've been using it for the past 5 months, single file. Single file, pag dinownload mo yan, madadownload mo yung mga website na kakailanganin ng bata sa synchronous. At kung dapat magsisynchronous ngayon, walang internet ang bata, have it in advance. Pa-download mo in advance. So that's the thing. That's the suggestion that I can give. Also, you can also maximize the use of printed materials, of printed modules. Yun nga, sabi ko nga sa inyo, kung assessment lang ang problema, you can have a separate copy of that. You can have a separate copy of that printed module kung saan nasa dulong pahina, yung keto correction. So, you need to provide them objective assessment para madaling checkan, para madali mo siyang ma-measure. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you po, sir. Next question po from Miss Glory Gragasing. How can teacher encourage students thinking is already down to earth about their personality?
Oh, that is a very deep question, ha? Pero remember, as teachers, we will be facing these problems. Haharapin natin itong problema na to. Na yung mga bata, kung hindi man very, very down na siya sa buhay, if lack of the better term, yung less motivated na siya. I think the communication has always the magic. Kaya nga 'di ba kung papansinin niyo, during synchronous or asynchronous session, find time to talk with your students. Hindi na kasi ito yung classroom. Okay? Ano man ang problema ng maraming mga bata na humaharap sa classroom na masaya, pero sa likod ng kanilang kasiyahan ay may kalungkutan. Hindi yan lumalabas kapag pinilit mo na sabihin sa iyo kahit kaharap niya ang guidance, minsan hindi niya sinasabi. But consistent communication will bridge that gap. Okay? Communication has always a wonder to give to us. Meron talaga at meron magagawa ang consistent communication. And another one is sincerity on that communication. Kailangan maipakita mo rin that you are, as teacher, you are on his or her shoe. So, as teachers, aside from being the source of learning for our students, we should also be a source of motivation, a source of hope in these dimming days. Thank you.
Thank you po, sir. For our last question this afternoon from Mr. Marvin Damasco. Sir, sa inyo pong palagay, anong tulong po ang maaaring maibigay ng mga guro sa mga batang hindi makakapag-aral sa panahon na ito?
Yan. This is also a question. Kasi hindi naman talaga natin mapipilit ang isang bata, okay, na mag-aral sa panahong ito dahil remember, FAD, fear, anxiety, and depression. Maaring nararanasan nila yung tatlong ito. Takot silang lumabas ng bahay, takot sila na baka magkasakit sila. Okay, another one is anxiety. They are fearing the unknown. Maaring finances, okay? Maaring nakikita nila na kaya i-sustain ng kanilang finances ang pag-aaral nila only for this first month, and then the next month hindi na nila alam. Maaring nasa dilemma sila na ang gagastusin bang ito para sa bahay ay gagastusin pa ba para sa pag-aaral ko to provide me these online gadgets. As teachers, the only thing that we can do is to make follow-up. And number two is to understand that not all students can really cling on this technologically driven demanding. Okay? Yung demand nitong e-learning. We need to understand na hindi lahat ng bata ay makakasabay talaga. What we can only do is go back again to communication, try to understand where the problem is, bigay mo yung option na pwede naman tayo mag-provide ng mga learning modules, di ba? Pero may mga batang tumatanggi rin. Bakit? Kasi yung learning module na to, sino magpa-process? Another question yan. Babalik yan dun sa FAD, fear, anxiety, and depression. So, nandun lang talaga tayo sa point na we can bridge this using communication. But let us hope for the best that our local government units are providing as well uh, things, gadgets, help in kind or in monetary for our students. So, yun, dun tayo magre-rest ngayon. Dun tayo magre-rely ngayon. So, hindi lang dapat estudyante ang umiintindi sa atin. Tayo din dapat makaintindi sa mga hinaharap ngayong pagsubok, hindi lang ating mga estudyante, kundi ng ating lipunan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zaren. That's all we have. That's all the questions we have for now. Any last reminders for our viewers this afternoon?
Gaya ng sinabi ko sa mga talk ko, this pandemic we are facing, this too shall pass. Lilipas din at lilipas din ang mga ito. But we do not know when, but we know very well that there is a greater wisdom than us who knows everything. Okay? So, this too shall pass. And remember, teacher and students, kayo ay magkatulong sa isa't isa. You are drawing the faith of our country, of our society. You are bringing the hopes of our ancestors. So, just like what the great poet has said, we are always the master of our fate, okay? The captain of our soul. Once again, God bless us everyone.
There we have it. In behalf of Bibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank you, Sir Zaren, for making our viewers' holiday a meaningful one because of your insightful learning session we have this afternoon. It is an honor to have you
Thank
with
you.
us, and to all our Kabibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning sessions. And muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Goodbye po and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe.